A little bit of a different look. Got to see some different faces in new places, but still back on the All-Star floor. The game itself, very interesting. And I know Joe's got some opinions that he'll drop here in just a second. But I mean, I thought the overall weekend went pretty solid. Salt Lake City seemed like they really benefited off of hosting the All-Star game for the first time in a while. I mean, obviously, Mac McClung, one of the big stories, huge dunk contest performance.
Saved it.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a lot to get into. But first, Joe, I know that you were talking about this off air, and I wanted to really bring this on air, I think, because I think it's really prominent of the All-Star game now kind of starts to feel like the Pro Bowl a little bit.
It has lost a lot of its draw, I feel like, to a lot of people. Like for me, I'm a big proponent, and no All-Star game does this anymore. It's like All-Star game should have like something to play for. You know what I mean? Like baseball used to have it where if you won or whatever team won, got home field advantage for the World Series, you know? And that was a big thing. Now they don't have that anymore. So now it's just kind of just like a, hey, get together type play thing. You got to have something to give these players some incentive, because I don't want to watch a basketball game that's 93 to 98 or 92 at halftime.
Yeah.
Because there's no defense being played. It's just hey, I'm going to go down and throw a lob up, and it's going to be dunk after dunk and stuff like that. It's not going to be good basketball to watch. You're just watching it because all these guys are on the same team. What I want to see is all these guys, like, bring the games in the offseason where you have, like, the ones that we saw, like, at those, what was it, the LA Fitness where J. Cole was playing with them?
Oh, yeah. Those pickup runs?
Those were intense pickup runs. And you see here, like, you don't see that at all. And it's like, it's kind of made it to where it's more of kind of like a social event. It's like a social hour rather than a basketball game that people want to watch. And the worst part about it is, if you look back to what it used to be back in like the 80s, the 90s, when Kobe was like near his start, and even like in the early 2000s, you had teams that were built up, and you had like actual all-stars that wanted to play and, you know, were actually had a solid game of basketball going on. It wasn't a blowout of like 180 to 190. It was a high intensity game from start to finish, and guys wanted to win and wanted to play well. Now you just got guys who are just there because they want that extra little incentive bonus that they get from making the All-Star team. And then after that, they don't want to do anything. And that's been everything with the All-Star weekend this year, the dunk contest, because of Mac McClung, got saved, but dunk contests were garbage. Skill contests were garbage. As long as Steph's not shooting in the three-point contest, garbage. The All-Star game as a whole is garbage. Everything was just so lackadaisical and just so liquidated to where it's just like, you can tell guys like wanted to be there, but they were just there to hang out with their friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And really the biggest thing with having these All-Star weekend events, regardless across any sport, you want to see the best players play the best game all together on the best day.
That's the All-Star game.
That's what they want to see. But now it's kind of turned into we're recognizing the All-Stars, and we're really recognizing and acknowledging the excellence they've put together in their first part of the season. But then from there, it's really drawn itself out. And I think overall, I think the 3-point contest, I think the dunk contests are still in semi-good shape. I think I would agree with you that Mac McClung really brought the prominence of the dunk contest back for how well he had his performance there in that Saturday night event. But I think when you look at how this whole game is put up as a whole, I think it just kind of feels like we're starting to implement a little bit. Especially the year when they honored Mamba, of course, in that All-Star game. That was in a very electric experience. But now it's kind of since that kind of passed a little bit. Now we're starting to kind of fade away from that really kind of importance to play for. And I thought especially with the MLB All-Star game, I'm glad you brought up that example, Joe, because I think that's what a lot of these players, why they played so hard. And obviously you could tell it was an All-Star game. Not all of them necessarily were like, yeah, this is an important game, but I'm not going to strain. I'm not going to put in 125% effort for an All-Star game because I got to compete with my team 3 days later. But I think something like that at least gives you that incentive to keep playing that well. And obviously with a lot of that stuff now, you're just not seeing the same kind of intensity.